welcome back. I already filmed this intro once, and then I went to look for my battery because my battery died, and I stabbed myself in the head on a rhinoceros that was hanging on the wall. It is now in the closet. Yes, it is, because I hit my head on it too many times, but this one was a doozy. I was like, where's my freaking battery? And then I was like, oh my god, I'm bleeding. And that compelled me to clean everything off of my desk. And so I just did like an anger cleaning. So we're going to be comparing the Tinted Face Oil from KOSA's on one side of my face, on the disadvantaged side of my face at the moment, against the JOSIE Maran Vibrancy Argan Oil Foundation Fluid on this side. And it's going to be like a very low pigment, no powder kind of look, I think is what I'm going to be going for. I tested this on my hand and it looked just like this. I've already wear tested this. I wear it all the time. I will put that video down in the description if you want to check out kind of the full download on it. And the whole idea here being that, you know, these are like healthy face oils that happen to have mineral pigment suspended in them. So we're going to, like I said, do a full day wear test on these. I also have the JOSIE Maran Vibrancy Argan Oil Fresh Face Paint Palette. It consists of 4 very beautiful shades, 2 like highlighty situations, and a bronzer, and then this crazy shade right here that, I don't know, she's calling this a, fresh face paint palette, so I think it's for, you know, not just your cheeks, but also like your eyes and your lips and stuff too. So we'll be testing the foundations side by side, but I'm going to use this on my whole face, just so that we can kind of get a feel for it. And I'm going to zoom you guys in, and we will start putting the makeup on, and then once I have it on, we will kind of talk about the claims and the promises of each of these products, the prices, how they shake out, and compare them as well as we possibly can. Alright, my head hurts. I'm moving you guys in now. Oh, it hurts so much. Okay, so we're going to start real quick. I'll zoom through this, but start with the KOSA's on one side, and we did learn in the previous video that you don't want to use anything kind of dimethicone-y underneath this. My SPF works fine under it, but I don't recommend using like, you know, Curology under it or something because it will kind of make it pill and bead up. I don't know why I'm doing this with my left hand, as if there's some rule where if it's the left side of my face, I have to use my left hand because it was making it kind of awkward. So it is the makeup that I like to say you could do in the dark. You put it on with your hands. It sort of self-adjusts in terms of evenness and coverage. Your skin kind of absorbs the healthy oils that are in it. I don't recommend powdering this kind of foundation. It is meant to just kind of live on its own. Anybody else like really feeling Mercury retrograde? Like I always hurt myself during Mercury retrograde. Like I already fell while hiking, and I showed you guys that before, but yeah, this just is so typical. I hate how typical it is. All right, gonna go in, shake the living daylights out of this JOSIE Maran. I've never, actually that's not true. I've used one of her products in the past, and it was years and years ago, and I bought like a cream blush that came in a tube, and I was not accustomed to natural products and didn't realize that like they're prone to separating in the tube, and I was like, what's wrong with this? It's gross, it's just oil, blah blah blah. And it's like, you probably needed to massage the tube to kind of reconstitute everything, but I threw it out years ago. So this is my first real experience with JOSIE Maran. So I got it in the shade Supernatural RG10. Just gonna start with one pump. Don't know why. Again, I did that with my left hand. It definitely has a smell. Not a bad smell, and I'm not sure whether it's like a fragrance or just the ingredients, but it's medicinal, so I'm guessing it's the ingredients. That's really pretty. Definitely has a little bit more of like a dewy thing to it than this. This does go down. I know it looks really dewy. I guess I should say serum-y. This feels more serum-y. This feels very, very thin. I'm really splitting hairs here, but like you can see there's a little more coverage. It's just a little bit heavier weight of a product, a little bit more pigment, and a little bit more viscosity to the foundation itself. And KOSA's does not call itself a foundation either. This actually calls itself a foundation fluid, whereas the KOSA's calls itself just a tinted face oil. All right, I actually really like that because it feels really nice on the skin, but it is a little bit more coverage than the KOSA's, and it's a really nice match. It's very different, much more different than I expected it to be. It's kind of interesting. They're both oil foundations, or, you know, tinted oils, but they look very different on the skin. The KOSA's is much more like your skin, but better, and this is giving me actual, like, makeup vibes, which is fine. Or, you know what I mean? We're gonna be able to work it out anyway. I'm gonna zoom in real quick, turn my lights away so that you guys can see kind of initial application up close. This is not just a lighting thing. It looks like there's just a lot more light on this side of my face than on this side, but it's not. It's that the KOSA's is just a much lighter weight formula. You can see my freckles more. This is just camouflaging and blurring more. And I will say, I can feel this. This soaks in immediately. This I feel. It's like it's still very oily feeling on my skin. Not sure how I feel about that. I'm wondering if I like don't have too much of it on, but it didn't feel like that when I was putting it on. It was only one pump, and I wiped a lot of it off on my hands, but they're both really, really pretty. This one's just got more coverage. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to use is some of my Glossier Stretch Concealer just underneath my eyes, because I don't really want to disturb anything that's going on, and I don't necessarily think we need that much coverage. I would use RMS, but the RMS, like, it has a lot of drag to it. It's very like thick and intense, and you do kind of have to warm it up with your body temperature. While I think that it's phenomenal, I love it, and it actually really helps kind of heal my skin, I would be afraid that it would move this product around because this product is so like oily and dewy and thin. They're both really pretty. This side just looks really lifted, and I like that. I like that very much. This is kind of an interesting test because these are not super thin feeling. You do still have to kind of warm them up with your fingers, and I just wonder if they're gonna move the product around in like an unflattering way. So we have highlight, bronzer, blush, and I think I'm just gonna use that blush. So I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna figure it out, but it is a very like intense kind of fuchsia color on the skin. So I'm going to start with the bronzer, and I'm just going to kind of tap that and then rub it in to the best of my ability here. Very smooth, very creamy, and at least to my eye, not too dark of a shade for my skin. And I am, with the exception of my kind of goldeny undertones, I'm about as light as it gets. I mean, you can get more porcelain than me, but if something's too dark, you're gonna know on my skin. And JOSIE Maran she's pretty tan. I'm not sure where, you know, she hails from originally, but, you know, if it works on her and it works on me, that's, you know, about half of the population. I'm not sure this is going to work on deep, deep skin tones, but, you know, both of these highlights are not going to work on me either. So let's go ahead and, let's see, I want to take a little bit of kind of this shimmery color right here. It is almost like a shimmery bronzer. It's got a little bit of pink to it. And I'm just gonna kind of put that on my cheeks too, and then I'm also gonna bring that onto my forehead, because this is actually more the typical bronzer shade that I would use. I'm really glad that there is a shade like this in this little palette, because it is just such a flexible color. It's, like I said, it kind of leans a little bit pink. It's got a little bit of shimmer to it, so that means when it spreads out, you get more of like a diffused color situation. I feel so much of the time, like, and I talked about this in a vlog recently, where when you put on this kind of makeup on camera, it can look kind of splotchy, especially since you're putting it on with your fingers and stuff, whereas a lot of the makeup that you see other beauty gurus do, where it's got, you know, 18 layers and, you know, setting powders and setting sprays and 5 different concealers, and I mean, I'm kind of exaggerating, but not really. It looks incredible on camera, but if you were to see someone like that in person, you'd be like, that is so much makeup. So it really is a camera thing, you know? Like, if you think about it, the people who are in movies and stuff are wearing, most of the time, tons of makeup, or people who are like on camera for a living, they're wearing tons of makeup just to look real. And you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, because if I'm putting on a regular everyday amount of makeup, it might look a little bit like patchy to the eye through a camera. So I don't know, just keep that in mind, I guess. I'm really loving this so far. I'm just kind of getting carried away here. I am going to go into the gold right here and see if that is light enough to be a highlight shade on me. When I shear it out, it's okay. I do prefer a little bit more pearlescence than that. It's a little too gold. Because I do like to be able to kind of layer up my highlight, especially on like a dewy makeup look. So, I mean, while that's really pretty, you can tell it doesn't really match my skin that well. So I probably will go in with a different highlight. Yeah, because I don't love that. Let's go in with the Kosås highlight. So that, look at the difference between those two. Yes, so that makes all the difference in the world. This is Kosås, and it's just a little bit lighter and more pearly. And then that's the JOSIE Maran. It's just a difficult color to wear on my skin because it's just a little bit too gold and a little bit too deep. And we can still use those shades like on my eyes and stuff. Okay, and then we really just have to do it. We have to just jump in with both feet here. We're gonna go with this shade, which is called Sweetness. I'm just gonna go for it. I mean, the cloud paints have taught me that a very, very bright color can work as long as it's, you know, spread out properly. And it can look crazy up until like the very last second and you're like, oh, actually, that's okay. Yeah, and what that really is just a beautiful pigment that's very highly concentrated, and that's why it looks kind of insane in the pan. I think that once it's sheared out, it's absolutely gorgeous. So no complaints. I'm going to put it on my lips too. That's okay. That's okay on my lips. I do think that this could be a look where I go for like a really bright lip. I'm also going to just take these shades, work them on my eyes here. I'm gonna go with that original. This one is called Force Field, and they call it a highlight, but it's too dark to be a highlight. Both of these are kind of too dark to be a highlight on me, but they work really beautifully as like a shimmery blush and also as like a nice eye contour, like that. And then I'll take the gold that didn't really work anywhere else and just kind of go on the lid with that. And these are very Argan oily. they have like an oil texture outside of the finish of like the shimmer. So that's really pretty. Let's throw on some brow mousse and some mascara. This is just the Glossier Boy Brow if you're new here. I always do like 2 coats of this. I feel like brows forward is kind of my go-to. I'm gonna use my Thrive mascara. I'm going to do what I always have to do with the stretch concealer because it just kind of disappears the first time you put it on, and I'm just gonna layer it a little bit. I've just found that with like the cloud paints, with so many of the Glossier products, it's like you put on one little bit of it and then you let it sit for a few minutes and it pretty much goes away, and you just have to apply it a second time. It's just, I don't understand. I don't understand it because they're all like that. The cloud paints are like that. The stretch concealers like that. Even my brow mousse, I like to have two coats of. So, I like the color on my lips, but I want to kind of chase that feeling a little bit more. So I'm going to go in with the Glossier Generation G Lip in Jam, which is going to take that color to the next level. And I think that really brings out that blush. And you can leave it matte like that, but what I like to do is actually just put some of the lip gloss on top because it makes my lips look healthier. This lip gloss is so bomb. So let me give it a little spritz. Not that we have any powder on my face, but okay. So first things first, I feel really pretty. I love both of these so far. They're both extremely just natural and gorgeous and nourishing, and they make my skin look young. We love looking young. Going to zoom in again now that we have all the rest of my makeup on, and you guys can see kind of how the textures of all those blushes and everything lay on the skin and how this has dried down on both sides. Okay, so still seeing a lot more brightness and coverage on the Josie Maran side, whereas you see more kind of like skin on the KOSA side. And the vibrancy of those cream products in the palette is just, it's wonderful. I love it. I love how blendable that is. Even on my eyes, I just feel like it gave me this really beautiful wash of color that was super easy to work with. A lot of these like multi-sticks that I've been using lately, I love them, but you do have to really like work them with like a brush or something to get them to really sheer out, and they do end up looking a little bit patchy if you're not careful. This just blended so easily. The trade-off there is that you can't like reach up and scratch your face or something. Not that you would do that with any face of makeup on, but like this is going to be more disruptible. Like you're going, if you brush up against something, this makeup's not gonna be like long-wearing, waterproof, budge-proof. That's just not the nature of this. So I do love the coverage on the Josie Maran side. I think that that level of coverage is like, it's just really, really flattering and really, really pretty. So I did buy this at Sephora. This is in the Clean at Sephora department on their website. And it has 14 shades, if I'm counting correctly. And I mean, yes, it does a really good job of kind of covering the bases, as well as the fact that this is so sheer that an exact dialed in match is not really that crazy necessary. It is $45 for 1 fluid ounce versus $42 for the KOSAs. It says what it is: a revolutionary medium to full coverage skincare foundation fluid powered by 100% pure argan oil and nutrient-rich pigments for vibrant glowing skin. So they're claiming that this is medium to full coverage. I beg to differ. I'm definitely getting light to medium, but I'm not mad about it, but I don't think that we could call this like a full coverage foundation. Activate your skin's vitality with Vibrancy Argan Oil Foundation Fluid. Like a fresh squeezed juice, Vibrancy utilizes a revolutionary cold-pressed process that preserves the powerful hand-selected ingredients for the freshest, most effective skincare foundation. So that was something that we read about when I was talking about RMS as well, where, you know, cold pressed or not highly heated. So I guess what they're saying in a lot of these products is that, you know, there are products out on the market that claim to have really high quality skincare ingredients in them, but if they've been heated past a certain point in order to actually go through production, then it kind of cancels out those benefits. And so they make sure to mention that this is, you know, cold pressed so that you're still getting the benefits of it. So Vibrancy energizes the skin with essential nutrients it craves and is designed to interact and adapt to the movements of your skin with delicate fluidity for a radiant dimensional finish. The breathable, lightweight, medium to full coverage formula features a powerful blend of moisture enhancing ingredients that help soothe, smooth, and restore skin's luminosity. This product is dermatologist tested and clinically proven to hydrate and smooth even the most sensitive skin. 100% pure argan oil, blueberry argan extract, Canadian willow herb, and 100% pure ginger root extract, and white bird of paradise extract, which helps restore skin luminosity and recapture skin's radiant vitality. Also has coconut alkanes. Oh, so many organic things. It's like all organic and natural. It's crazy. While, yes, this is medium to full coverage, and this is completely not, we're still going to wear test them so that you guys can see sort of how these, because they are both oil-based and they're both kind of similar consistencies and similar finishes on the skin, we're still going to wear test it for 8 hours, and I will see you guys at the end of my day where we will see kind of whether, you know, the full coverage has like broken down, whether the pigmentation from that palette is like holding up, and just any maybe unexpected things that might happen with this. So I will see you guys at the end of my day. What's up, guys? I'm going to be totally honest. We've had some, first of all, both of them annoyed the living crap out of me for most of the day today because my skin, I did a mask last night and everything, it just wasn't very dry. And I feel like these are dry skin day foundations. They're very, very good when your skin's thirsty. And when your skin's not thirsty, they kind of never really settle. They never really chill. And it can be kind of annoying because even if you don't have like pets, I'm pointing to my cat that's curled up on my couch right now, even if you don't have a lot of like things that cause tiny hairs to stick to your face, the little micro hairs on your actual face, if they're like pushed the wrong way and then they start to kind of like re-put themselves the right way, however tinily they do it, it can drive you absolutely crazy. And what I found was actually the solution was the RMS Unpowder. This saved the day. Plot twist. I'm shocked because I thought both of these being oil foundations were gonna soak up so much powder that it would just end. Because when I tried a highlighter, a Natasha Denona highlighter on top of the KOSAs, it broke up. This being the RMS Unpowder, it's so lightweight, and I put it on with like a baby brush. This one's from the Beauty Crop, just, you know, what I had clean. It made such a difference in making this stop just itching me to death. So I take back what I said about not being able to use powder. The Unpowder works really well. I also think that, you know, after wearing this over time and things, both of these I've discovered, my doggo, are foundations for when you're having a dry skin day, which is most of us in the winter time. I just happened to have like a nice supple situation when I woke up this morning, and so I needed a little bit of the powder. So which one's better? What are the differences? They are subtle, guys. Do you remember when we were comparing like IT Cosmetics versus Thrive, and we're just like, or even like the IT Cosmetics CC Plus versus the IT Cosmetics like Bye Bye Foundation? We're talking splitting hairs here again. I don't think you can go wrong with either of these. What's up, guys? Future Khaki here. I'm stepping in here because this video, I cannot get my words out. One of the things that I'm trying to say is that you don't need both. This is another day of wear testing a full face of the Josie Maran foundation, and I used the RMS Unpowder on top of it before I put powder products on top of it. So the conclusion that I want to leave you with is, if you are going to be using a bunch of cream products, powder afterwards or not at all, and be really careful with the powder. And if you want to use this like a normal foundation, use an unpowder on top, something like that, like a really lightweight. You can maybe use an HG powder, but I'd still be careful because it's gonna soak stuff up. But it does behave a little bit more full coverage when you powder it. I'm not sure if that's how it's meant to be used necessarily, because it's an Argan oil foundation and it comes with cream products, but I think that this rule goes either way. You can use this RMS powder on top of the KOSAs or the Josie Maran for very similar outcomes. The main difference is whether your skin agrees with the ingredients of one better than the other, and whether you want slightly more coverage. So if you want slightly more coverage, go with the Josie Maran. If you want less coverage, go with the KOSAs, and you don't need both. These are the thoughts that I wish I could slap out of the back of my head when I'm watching the footage from this video. It is just, it was like the height of Mercury retrograde, so I'm really sorry. I will hand it off to Khaki of the past to close the video out, but I mean, come on, I had to censor out my head bleeding. That shouldn't happen, but here we are. So thank you guys for watching. I will hand it back to past Khaki now. The Vibrancy Argan Oil Fresh Face Paint Palette. I like this because this, let me look up the price real quick. This is a good deal. Yeah, heck yeah. So this is $42 and it is net weight 0.1 ounces. And like RMS, 4 times 1.1, total of 0.03. Yeah, so this is 3 times as much product for $2 less. I hate to do that. I hate to compare these two because RMS is more pigmented and it's just a different consistency. But, and obviously they have things that they stand for. I mean, there's, you know, there's other extenuating circumstances here, but, this is 42, this is 44, this is 3 times the amount of product if you're gonna use all the colors. So, I really dig this. I wanna try a little something. I want to like, really pack this color, this like, fuchsia color. I wanna like really pack it on and see if that's even a thing. Cause my fear is actually that this is gonna get a little bit ashy. in which case we're not talking about something that's going to translate super well on every skin tone. And you can see it on my lips. It does, it has kind of an opacity to it. It's not a pure kind of like wash of color gloss, which is fine, but just understand that it has a little bit of like a baby pink backdrop to it, or like a baby fuchsia, whatever that would be, but it has like a white pigment in there, a little tiny bit, and that's going to make it more opaque and less of a wash of color, which is going to make it look ashy on very deep skin tones. That's just, you know, that was kind of the issue that the cloud paints ran into from Glossier for a long time until they released the most recent 2 shades. And I also will say that this does not have the vibrancy, even though this is called Vibrancy. It doesn't have the like long-term kind of like color fidelity that RMS does. Like RMS colors, when you put them on your face, it's a little bit of work, but they stick around all freaking day. Like these remind me a lot of the cloud paints in the sense that they do kind of just wear off over the course of my day. The thing that this does have is uniqueness. Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. I think that this shade right here, besides this like pretty incredible blush shade, I'll be honest, it really is super flattering. This right here is just an absolutely dynamite shade of bronzy, blushy, apricot-y. It's like a really gorgeous, I'm like pulling product off now because I'm kind of, you know, just moving it around, but it compares a little better. If you thought that the KOSAs in their little compact, where is that little guy? So if you thought that this KOSA's bronzer was like too gold and too light, these two might kind of do the trick for you. So this is the KOSA's, and that's, you know, they're calling that like a bronzer in the palette that I have. And then this is the bronzer in the Josie Maran palette, and then this is that shade that I'm going on and on about, which is just kind of what I think of as like a bronzy blush that has some shimmer to it. I really like shimmer in my blush. I like having the option because shimmer blends so well. Doesn't mean you have to use it across your whole face, but it will help if you have like a really high pigmented blush to blend everything out and make it look really pretty. I'm doing my best to kind of compare and contrast these guys so that I can help you make a decision, because I don't think that obviously it's your guys' job to own all of these things. I'm not telling you to buy all of these things. So if you guys have any additional questions to help you kind of like parse out what's for you and what you can totally pass on, ask them down below. I'm happy to help. But understand that a lot of the differences here are very nuanced, and I encourage you guys to also look into the ingredients, because the ingredients, whether they work for you, is what actually matters at the end of the day. Whether argan oil is something that works for your skin and your hair, whereas like, you know, some people coconut oil dries their skin out, some people coconut oil really nourishes their skin. So just those kinds of things. It's the ingredients that really matter, and that's what you're paying for in the case of these products. And so definitely, you know, do a little bit of kind of trial and error on yourself, and understand that all of these things are returnable. So if you end up hating them, you can take them back. So I will link everything that I just talked about down below, all of it, all the nonsense. And I'm gonna totally keep these. I'm really actually like in love with this palette. It's really pretty. The packaging's gorgeous. The mirror is enormous. It's really good for traveling. And I'm pretty sure these guys punch out in the back. I could probably like punch these out and depot them too, if I wanted them to join the menagerie of insanity that's inside of that palette right now. Thank you guys for watching. If this was helpful, if you appreciated it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, guys, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you did. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. We're gonna be at 10,000 soon. Tell your friends, let's accelerate it. And I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.